Now that we know the A minor pentatonic scale, the root position, and the octave position scales, the next thing we want to do is apply some technique to those scales to really maximize our practice time with scales. And so the thing we're going to work on is scale sequences. So scale sequences are basically groups of notes or patterns of notes. And the reason we want to do that is a lot of riffs, solos, licks, things like that are really blocks of notes or patterns of notes. And so we want to start to be able to think ahead and see larger groups of notes at once. So it's almost as much, if not more, of a mental exercise than it is a physical exercise on the guitar. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate all of them that I do for the A minor pentatonic scale in the root position on the 5th fret. And I'm going to give you a brief explanation, but what I want you to do is see if you can pick up on the pattern and kind of do it without using the tabs, because you want to be able to mentally visualize these big groups of notes. So the overall idea of this is starting on each note of the scale. There are a total of 12 notes in this scale. Now there's actually 5 music letters, A, C, D, E, G. But if we went and numbered this position, how many notes we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we have 12 notes. And essentially what we're going to do is, until we run out of room, we're going to do a note pattern on each finger, each note of the scale. So the first one we're going to do is a 3-note sequence. And so we're going to start on the first note of the scale and play the first 3 notes of that scale. Then we play from the second note of the scale, which is this pinky note here, 3 notes in the scale from there. And then we go to the 3rd note, which is our first finger here on the A string. And then our 4th note, which is the 7th fret on the A string. And so on. And so on. So what you can see that you're going ahead 3 notes and then kind of back 1. But I kind of don't want you to think about it that way, because when we go to the other scale patterns, it's not going to necessarily work out that same way. It might be, you might end up overthinking it. So for example, if we're doing a 5-note sequence instead of 3, let's say we're doing 5. We want to go ahead 5 notes and then go back to the second note of the scale, this pinky here, and then the 3rd note of the scale here, 3rd finger, 1st, and so on. We don't want to have to like calculate, oh wait, I went up 5 and I got to jump back 3 or 4 or whatever. It's kind of like too much thinking, you know? So we just want to think, where did I leave off last time, or where did I start the pattern last time? I started here on my 1st finger, and then I go to my pinky, and then my 1st finger, then my 3rd finger, then 1st. And then the same thing in reverse. So let's go back to our 3-note pattern. Here's a reverse of it. 3 notes backwards. Then what's our 2nd note in reverse? This 1st finger here. Then our 3rd note in reverse is our pinky on the B string. And then 1st finger on the B string. And so on. I'm going to demonstrate play through each one of these with a drum beat, a pretty cool backing track that I have. And the first way that I'm going to do this is with the 3-note pattern, and I'm going to put a rest in between each sequence. So like this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, rest, 1, 2, 3, rest, 1, 2, 3, rest. Then I'm going to demonstrate how to play all of them without the rest in between, because that's what we want. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so we have sequences 3, 4, 5, and 6 note patterns. And then the last one I'm going to demo a little, I'll give you another explanation of it really quickly before I do it. That one's called the skipping pattern. It's a little bit of a different pattern. But here we go. Let's play through each of those sequences. The tabs are on the screen. They're also at the link in the blog. And let's give it a shot. Okay, 3-note scale sequences with a rest in between groups. Here we go. All right, so this is the 3-note sequence with no rest between groups. Here we go. All right, here is the 4-note sequence, no rest between groups. Here we go. All right, 5-note scale sequences. Here we go. And lastly, 6-note sequences. Here we go. quick explanation of the skipping pattern. What we're going to do is skip a note and then go back one. Skip a note, go back one. Kind of like leapfrogging your way through the scale. So you're going to play the first note of the scale, skip the pinky note and go to the next one, and then you go back to the one that you skipped. Skip one, go back one, skip one, back one, skip, back. When you're doing it backwards, you're going to skip in reverse and then go up one. So skipping in reverse, so we skip this first finger, right? And then we go back to the one we skipped, the first finger. And then we skip in reverse and go back up one. Skip in reverse, back up one. By the way, up is this way. Down is this way. All right, we're talking about the pitch up and down. Okay, so the reverse way. Skipping pattern, here we go. Skip one, go back one. Skip one, go back one.